So I'm using a kind of like a translation of less quality here. So bear with me, but I do know one thing, we are at a flashback, and Sasuke still looks fucking confused. But don't worry about that, because next week we're gonna get Tobirama's flashback, and then the third's flashback, and then finally Minato's flashback. Minato's gonna be like, hey, did I ever tell you about the time when I fought this masked man that invaded the village? And we're gonna be like, yeah. And he's gonna be like, well, fuck you, because Kushina shouldn't be spoiling my story. Madara alludes to creating the dream world, and then he leaves. Simple as that. And I think it's important, really important, that when it comes to judging characters, especially like those characters that are born out of war, we think about the complexities of war and how there's an environmental factor in the upbringing of these characters. I'm going to give you a quote from One Piece. Kids that grow up not knowing war have different values than those who grow up not knowing peace. So whether or not you think Hashirama's in the right, or you think Madara's in the right, or they're both wrong, or just one of them is more wrong than the other, or that Tobirama is an asshole, which we already knew because we saw some of his racist tendencies when he's a grown man, when he's talking to Sasuke. And if a grown man shows racist tendencies, it's probably because he picked them up when he was a little kid. Probably from, I don't know, wild guess, his dad. I guess I'm just inviting you to consider the fact that these characters did grow up in a war zone. And as with everything related to a war zone, there's a lot of blame to go around. On both sides. I don't care how righteous one side thinks they are. They're not, okay? And also how evil the other side is perceived to be. Chances are they're not. If you followed the story this far, you could see that Kishi just likes doing this. He likes creating these ambiguous characters so as to question ourselves. You got people like Kizame, Itachi, Danzo that are ambiguous in a sense. And it's good to have this tolerance for ambiguity because, human nature, we're not just, all evil, and we're not just all good, It's kind of like most of us are like a blur, It's kind of like somewhere in between. I kind of appreciate the flashback a lot more now because it just made me think about these things, and it made me voice out these things, and hopefully it gets you thinking about these things. Anyway, so Hashirama establishes the village. The system is pretty good, so it's emulated elsewhere because, kids aren't dying, and whenever kids aren't dying, it's pretty cool. We go back to the fighting that started this little conversation. The Thousand-Hand Buddha is doing some Luffy Gatling shit. Would you look at that? The sun just came up. Anyway, bijou bombs with swords in them? I don't know. That sounded really looked really perverted. But yeah, it fucks up the Buddha, at least its hands. But it doesn't matter, because the Susanoo begins wearing off. And then the Buddha picks up the Kyuubi like a puppy. And then the other wooden Pokemon comes in and he's like, down, bitch, down. I'd like to bring your attention to something that happens right after that. Madara activates EMS. And if you turn the page, immediately after that is a shot of the moon. So it's Madara, EMS, the moon, and then the final confrontation. I'm guessing whatever he did there with his EMS, perhaps looking at the moon with it, ended up saving his life. Yes? Maybe? Oh, would you look at that? Hashirama just hit the ground. Oh, wait a minute, no, it's a wood clone, and he's stabbing Madara through the back. In terms of character development, I think what's more important here is that Hashirama finally realizes that, well, the dream of establishing a peaceful village is now more important than his man crush. And in a way, like, he does something that Naruto has refused to do over and over again. He takes the life of his friend, supposedly, because he realizes that it's better to act on behalf of the greater good. And then Madara questions that, well, you really didn't act on behalf of the greater good, because sooner or later, it's going to bite you in the ass. And here we are, back in the present, man. Look at the stream, Hashirama. This is where we first met. And I love how after weeks and weeks of flashback, Hashirama takes the story and just, weaves it in to his answer for Sasuke. And I have a good translation in front of me now, so I'm going to go ahead and read that. He says, Shinobi are beings that must make impossible choices in order to achieve our dreams. And depending on the nature of your dream you chase after, you have no choice but to change to accommodate those dreams, just like Madara and I had to. That's a really good definition, but I don't think it's a fixed definition that is incapable of changing. Because if you think about it, if you follow that logic, then if Sasuke doesn't see the light, okay, Naruto's going to have no choice but to end up killing him, and I don't think Naruto's going to do that. So, with that in mind, you could say that Naruto could eventually redefine what it means to be a shinobi. He'll probably say something like, oh, if I can't save my friend, then I don't want to be a shinobi, something like that. Oh, Naruto, how stubborn you are. But then again, it's good that he's going to redefine the definition because, you know, surpassing the previous generations. Yay. This begs the question, what is Sasuke's dream? To restore the Uchiha clan? Cause I don't think Naruto's stopping him from getting vaginas. Or is he? I dreamed a dream in Konoha, in which I had Itachi's penis. What do I think about this chapter? I really liked it. And I don't know if you could tell, but I'm really glad we're at a flashback. Missed you, present time. Comment, rate, thank you. No comments this week because graduate school is kicking my ass. I had no time. I apologize. Take care. Bye.